Do you get overly offended by something like a political sign? Hi, I'm John, founder and president of Gentle Response, a consulting company specializing in very dynamic, realistic conflict de-escalation training seminars. Hey, before I get going and forget, will you hit that like and subscribe button? Because what I've been doing lately, especially over the summer during the pandemic and all that, is I find these situations and incidences, and then I put together a little video and talk about how conflict de-escalation training skills and knowledge most likely would have made a huge difference. So the incident I'm talking about today actually happened in 2016. A individual apparently out jogging saw that a neighbor or this individual had a Trump sign in their front yard, and on security cameras this individual runs up to the sign, struggles with it for a moment, and then decides to leave it alone and takes off running. Can't remember if the sign was damaged or not. I'll have the link to the video and the story down below. So the homeowner who was home and saw this happening takes off running, goes out to the front yard, checks, and then takes off running after this guy, and then yells back to his wife to call the police. And so while they're while they're waiting for the police to arrive, the homeowner ends up jogging back and forth with this jogger. And I'm sure words are being exchanged. And at some point later, you actually see on a video, you see that the original suspect, the jogger, violently shoves the homeowner who falls down. The police get involved, and I'm not exactly sure what happened after that, but let's talk about how these two people could have handled this situation very differently. All right, let's start with the jogger. Seriously? You got so offended by someone else's difference of opinion that you would trespass, violate their property, trespass, basically almost damage property and try to steal their property just because you have a difference of opinion. Risk getting shot by the homeowner if this was wow, just because of a difference of opinions. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and there will continue to be incidences just like this that validate what I'm telling you. That that when you allow yourself to get offended, you increase the likelihood that you are going to say or do something that could escalate the situation. And then folks, you can't tell me you don't agree that out of no situation at all, that trespassing on someone else's property, trying to take their property, potentially damaging their property, you can't tell me that is not an escalation of a situation or even a creation of a situation, because there was no situation until you made the choice to go onto someone else's property to do all this, to basically try to impose your difference of opinions on them. You know, what's disappointing is that this country is still a beacon of hope and opportunity for thousands of people who will risk their lives to come into this country illegally. And there are so many people who are already here that don't appreciate and have forgotten that this country was built on being able to live together in peace, agree to disagree. Just wow. Folks, when you see something that offends you, if you don't catch that and you let that fester even for a few moments, you run the risk of you yourself saying or doing something that could escalate a situation. Let's talk about the homeowner, just from safety stuff. I get it. Your alarm, your Ring doorbell alarm or whatever kicks off and lets you know there's some type of movement in your yard. You take a peek out and there's someone trespassing and trying to tear up something that belongs to you. In this particular case, it's a Trump sign. What if it was a Pence sign or a Biden sign, excuse me? So I'm sure the homeowner flared up, right? Adrenaline rush and all that. He goes running out. Folks, here's where it gets tricky. By the time the homeowner ran out, this individual had already left the property, but the homeowner ran after him. That made him the aggressor in this point. And if you think about it, it would not be difficult for a first-year law student to make the homeowner look like the aggressor in this situation. When a subject or someone or a threat or whatever leaves your property, it's not an imminent threat of any type or situation. Be very, very careful that you just don't go taking off after it and potentially escalate a situation. Take a deep breath. You already know the subject is captured on video. Call the police and stand by and wait for them to come, right? Now, I'm not saying you don't have to run outside to the front yard, go out to the front yard and look down and keep an eye on them, stay on the phone with dispatch and say, yeah, he's still running southbound and he just made a left on Elm Street. That lets the police have, current up-to-date intelligence so they can, when they arrive on scene, they can go find him, right? Take a deep breath when your adrenaline starts getting jacked. Take a deep breath, slow, deep breaths, okay? Inhale for a 4-second count, hold your breath for a 4-second count, exhale for a 4-second count, hold your breath for a 4-second count, and so on, right? It's called circle breathing, combat breathing, tactical breathing, whatever. But the point is, slow yourself down, really assess and think about the situation you may be getting into, right? Deep breaths will get that oxygen to your brain, which will allow you to think clearly under stress. This individual, the homeowner, went out there and then was jogging with this individual to the point where finally the jogger shoved the homeowner. It is by the grace of God that it wasn't a more violent injury or a violent incident and the homeowner didn't get killed. Come on, you can't tell me you're not aware of a lot of stupid stuff happening out there where people have gotten themselves killed. This is very similar to a road raging incident. Something totally avoidable, totally did not have to happen, and it got to the point where there was a physical contact and confrontation out on the sidewalk, all caught on video. So folks, number one, don't let yourself get offended over someone else's difference of opinions, all right? This is supposed to be America, and it was made great, and we can make it great again when we get back to agreeing to disagree and allowing people to have a difference of opinions. But when you start imposing your belief on someone else, you're escalating a situation. If you're a homeowner, business owner, whatever, security guard, be very careful that you don't just go running off the property after somebody. And especially in a situation like this, it's one thing if they've hurt somebody or whatever, but I'm talking about situation dependent. Be very well aware of how and why you're running after somebody. Don't put yourself at risk. Don't put yourself at risk of getting yourself hurt or saying or doing something that could escalate a situation. Folks, let's not forget we are all in this together, doing the best we can to deal with this new world with the pandemic and stuff like that. And I'm telling you that making an effort to show a little bit of empathy and compassion to each other would go a long ways.